Welcome to Sabbath School with Miss Lana. This week we're going to continue studying Noah's Ark and the flood, but first let's start with prayer. Dear God, thank you for this Sabbath and that we can learn a little bit more about what happened with the flood and how you took care of Noah and his family and the animals. And in the same way, you're taking care of each of us during our own troubles. And I ask that you give us each peace and go with us as we study your word today. We love you. Amen. All right, first we're going to sing Who Built the Ark, right? Who built the ark? Noah, Noah, who built the ark? Brother Noah built the ark. Old man Noah built the ark. He built it out of the gopher bark. He built it long, both wide and tall, with plenty of room for the large and small. Who built the ark? Noah, Noah, who built the ark? Brother Noah built the ark. All right. And as a reminder, you need a piece of paper. You're going to divide it into 4 parts, and you need something to draw with, and at any time you can press pause. If you want to draw with more detail, you can press pause. If you want to look something up, press pause. Anytime you can press pause. All right, so today we're reading from Genesis chapter 7, and it's all going to be in Genesis 7. So if you find Genesis 7, that's where we are, and I'm reading out the International Children's Bible. And we're going to start with verses 1 through 9, which says, Then the Lord said to Noah, I have seen that you are the best man among the people of this time. So you and your family go into the boat. Take with you 7 pairs, each male with its female, of every kind of clean animal. And take 1 pair, each male with its female, of every kind of unclean animal. Take 7 pairs of all the birds of the sky, each male with its female. This will allow all these animals to continue living on the earth after the flood. 7 days from now, I will send rain on the earth. It will rain 40 days and 40 nights. I will destroy from the earth every living thing that I made. Noah did everything that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came. He and his wife and his sons and their wives went into the boat. They went in to escape the waters of the flood. The clean animals, the unclean animals, the birds, and everything that crawls on the ground came to Noah. They went into the boat in groups of 2, male and female. This was just as God had commanded Noah. All right, so we're going to start out with our boat, the ark, and with everyone that went in. So, we've got our boat with its door, right? And it said 2 of every unclean animal. We're going to do a lion for our unclean animal here. Okay. 1 male, 1 female, 1 boy, 1 girl of every unclean animal. And then it was 7 pairs. A pair is 2, so 7 times 2 is 14. So altogether it was 14 of every clean animal. So we'll do a sheep here for our clean animal. Right, there we go. And then again, 7 pairs or 14 of every bird. There, it's like a duck or something. And then, how many people? We know there was Noah and his wife and his sons, which he had Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. So that gives us 8. So we're going to have 8 people. There we go. So that's what was in the ark. 2 of every unclean animal. A lot of unclean animals are what we call predator animals. Not all of them, but a lot of them are predators, and our clean animals, a lot of them are prey animals. So you would need more of them to have them not go extinct right after the flood was over, right? And I guess birds often are prey animals too. And insects reproduce so fast that by the time they were off the ark, they would have had a bajillion anyway. So there we go. That's what went in the ark. 2 of every unclean, 14 of clean, 14 of birds, 8 people. So let's see what happens when they're all on the ark. Okay, so now we're reading verses 10 through 12. It says, 7 days later, the flood started. Noah was now 600 years old. The flood started on the 17th day of the 2nd month of that year. That day, the underground springs split open, and clouds in the sky poured out rain. The rain fell on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. So it said, the underground springs, so there's our ground, split open. So this is like, think of those geysers, like Old Faithful stuff. Those bursting out of the ground, and then the clouds in the sky poured out rain. Okay, there's our rain. And it said that it rained for 40 days and nights. Okay, that's a lot of rain. Now in verse 13, so it kind of repeats itself again. It's going to repeat a lot of what it said up here, but we're going to add one extra detail. So we're going to read verses 13 to 16. On that same day, Noah and his wife, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives went into the boat. They had every kind of wild animal and tame animal. There was every kind of animal that crawls on the earth. Every kind of bird was there. They all came to Noah in the boat in groups of 2. There was every creature that had the breath of life. 1 male and 1 female of every living thing came. It was just as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. Okay, so it repeated the people who were in there. This time it doesn't use clean and unclean. It says every tame and every wild and every crawling thing that breathes air, basically, came to the boat. But it adds, who closed the door? It said the Lord closed the door. So we've got our boat here, and the door has been closed by the Lord. Purple. So there we go. He has closed them in, so they are safe in the boat. Now we're going to finish Genesis 7. So verses 17 to 24, which again is going to start out where this part left off. Water flooded the earth for 40 days. As the water rose, it lifted the boat off the ground. The water continued to rise, and the boat floated on the water above the earth. The water rose so much that even the highest mountains under the sky were covered by it. The water continued to rise until it was more than 20 feet above the mountains. All living things that moved on the earth died. This included all the birds, tame animals, wild animals, and creatures that swarm on the earth. And all human beings died. So everything on dry land died. This means everything that had the breath of life in its nose. So God destroyed from the earth every living thing that was on the land. This was every man, animal, crawling thing, and bird of the sky. All that was left was Noah and what was with him in the boat. And the waters continued to cover the earth for 150 days. So this was a very sad time, because if you weren't in the boat, everyone died. And if you'll remember how we tied this in last week with Jesus saying, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the end. Those who aren't walking with Jesus, when the world's destroyed, are going to die. God doesn't want them to die. He didn't want everyone there to die. But when we get to the point where we're actually happier not existing, where our lives are so miserable because people are killing each other and being horrible to each other, then God says, this has to stop. This is horrid. And so then it will end. But everyone who has chosen him and who is loving and trying to help those around them will be like Noah and his family in the boat. And so the whole world was covered with water for 150 days. You think this quarantine's bad? They were in that boat for 150 days. What do you think they were doing in there? The Bible doesn't tell us, but let me tell you, if you have all those animals in there and all those critters, you are waking up in the morning and you are feeding animals and you are cleaning up after animals and you're eating and going to bed tired. And then you're getting up the next day and doing it all over again. And so that's what they were doing. That's my best guess anyway. I expect that's what they were doing. So we have everyone who got on the boat who was saved. And then the ground burst open and water fell from the sky for 40 days and 40 nights. Before that happened, God closed the door. And there was so much water, it covered even the mountains, all the mountains, by at least 20 feet for 150 days. And likely, they were taking care of the zoo. Which brings me to our challenge. I gave you a start on this challenge last week. So, likely, there's someone in your house who keeps your zoo running, who makes sure you guys are fed, and that your house is clean, or relatively clean. And that is likely often your mom. And tomorrow is Mother's Day. And so I challenged you last week to get ready for Mother's Day. And today and tomorrow morning, I would like you to enact your Mother's Day plan and give your mom, your grandmas, any other important moms in your life a great Mother's Day. Let's close with prayer. Dear God, thank you for this story of the flood and for the details you've given us. And I ask that you help each of us to get on that boat, to choose you and walk with you, and to love those around us, and to help get as many people choosing you and on that boat as possible, and help us to give our moms a great Mother's Day. And thank you. Thank you for your love and your care for us. Amen. Bye.